Boom, Disney, hire us. We're available. We'll work for cheaper than Patty Jenkins. Cam will work for free. I will work for cheaper than Patty Jenkins. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Cantina here on the GenreVerse YouTube channel, GenreVerse Podcast Network, available on all of your favorite podcast apps like, Google, Spotify, other ones, Apple, whatnot. I'm confused at which camera to look at. I'm Kyle, by the way, my cohort here, Cam Clark Shockey, not joining us, unfortunately, and it has been a while. Sorry. I didn't want to set up everything and drag out the couch for the Cantina. I just wanted to get into it because we got quite a bit to discuss. You guys can, whoops, I was already on the right screen. You guys can find more content for all your entertainment news, needs, opinions here on the GenreVerse YouTube channel, lrmonline.com. Mention the podcast, go up on your favorite podcast apps, and we do have merch, so check out our Redbubble link in the description box below. But yeah, let's kind of get into it. The Acolyte trailer has dropped this week, and there's feelings. People have feelings, Cam. They often do. What were your feelings on the Acolyte?
Yeah, I mean, I liked what I saw. It's only a teaser, so almost no dialogue. A lot of quick shots, scene setting stuff. But I think tonally it looks darker than some of the stuff that we've been getting recently. You kind of get the feeling that there's a story there to be told. Obviously we'll wait and see, but I guess my first impressions are decent. Yeah, I quite enjoyed as a teaser. I've no reason of it.
Brian, who does the anime content here with us on the GenreVerse, he had said if this had been 10 years ago, he would have been a lot more excited.
That's
and
fair.
I find myself kind of feeling the same, where I'm like, there's nothing on screen that says to me this will be bad Star Wars. However, we're in an era where we've had Obi-Wan Kenobi series, Mando season 3, Ahsoka, and not to mention the movies. And it's really hard to sit there and be excited. We were kind of proven wrong with Andor. Andor turned out to be absolutely amazing. Proven wrong as far as like what we thought, could it work, could it not work, and whatnot. And the creator of this series, Leslie Headland, I guess showrunner as well, had some comments recently. Cam, could you tell us a little bit about what she had to say?
I mean, you mean specifically in the tone
About
kind of
tone
side
and
of it, I
stuff
feel
like
like.
that with the
She did
Andor
talk
thing.
I think that was in the Collider,
Collider.
that she spoke about, yeah. And she kind of talked about where it sits. So the question she was asked is this more Mandalorian or is it Andor? Which is a fair question. And what she said was basically, it's somewhere in between. It has elements of both. It's more like Andor in terms of that it's one story. It's not episodic in any way, but as she said in another interview later on, it kind of it's like a mystery thriller, so you're going to find new information out each episode. But like Andor, it's more of a story from start to end, and having as she said, like when you get to the end of Andor, it kind of builds to this sort of climax, and that's what she was kind of aiming for, and at least season 1 of the show. She did also say that she does have a lot of ideas for further seasons of this show, but she did point out that she doesn't like cliffhangers. So she didn't want it. Wouldn't be like season 1 leaves you in a cliffhanger and then you don't find out what happens to season 2. She likes it to be more complete than that, but she does have ideas for where these characters in this story could go in future seasons. She just kind of needs a break, but it does sound as well as if Lucasfilm are keen for her to start work on that ASAP. She didn't say it's been greenlit. And obviously, she and probably Lucasfilm want to see how the show does, how it does with critics.
I don't know.
and
They
fans,
seem to not have issues announcing things or greenlit at all. They'll greenlit 1,000 things and watch none of them come to fruition and be like, we don't understand why people don't trust
few
us.
Months though, Kyle. I mean, that may have changed since the last time we went through that. You know, I can't really. I mean, I don't know how expensive it was to make, and we don't have that information yet. What we could say is she also says that it didn't use the volume, so it's kind of location shot like Andor, and I think it looks better because of that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think I would say Mando season 1 looked bad. I think they used the volume in the right way in that. I think they became a little bit too reliant on it, and the likes of especially Obi-Wan Kenobi was far too reliant on the volume to the point where it became a detriment to that, and probably Mando season 3 a little bit as well. Yeah, although I don't think that was necessarily most of my issues with that series.
Were
not that, but there was some. Yeah, there was some issues with the volume. I think it has to be used in the right way, and I think they maybe Lucasfilm started using it in the wrong way. So I'm quite pleased that it's not actually, because it looks good so far, or at least to me it looks good anyway. So yeah, that was pretty much what she'd said in the Collider interview. If we go into the THR interview, which we were also covering in the site as well, is where she talked about it being sort of a mystery thriller. And she also talked about some of her kind of influences for the show, and she mentioned some Kurosawa films, and we talk a little bit about that. The article you've probably got up on screen at the moment anyway. People can check out. So a lot of quotes. That's why I'm not reading it out, guys, because I would take the whole show to just read out all her quotes. She does go into quite a lot of detail, but that's something you're better reading for yourself on the site, or the original sites that actually did the publications themselves. Of course, I didn't cover absolutely everything from the interviews, just the key points. If you want absolutely everything she said, you can check both THR and Collider for those original interviews.
You link to them in your write-up.
Absolutely, both are linked in my articles.
Yeah, like I said, I kind of agreed with Brian. Nothing that I saw on it looked bad. And what she says about it is all kind of stuff that I hope for the show. But I've just been burned too many times by Disney recently. Disney and Lucasfilm. So it's just the same as Marvel. Like, I want
to be them to impress you.
It is. It is.
All right, I'll try your show. Impress me, make me want to come back each week and watch it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's not as if you're saying, I'm not giving this a chance. You've given it a chance and see how it goes.
Absolutely been trying to give things a chance. I gave Kenobi a chance, and I hate myself for that. Because man, I'll tell you what. Kenobi broke canon. People can argue with me and do all sorts of mental gymnastics all they want. In my opinion, Kenobi not only broke canon, but they completely just created a pile of crap to put Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor on screen together in something that mattered not at all. At the end of the day, the only thing you did was muck around with canon to give us a fight that didn't matter and is indeed one of the worst shot lightsaber battle, worst lit lightsaber battles I've ever seen in my entire life.
I'll agree it's not the best lit lightsaber battle, and I'll agree that the show was a mess, but I think my issues were, I had the same worries as you, but I actually think my main issue with it is that it could have been pulled off with better writing and better directing. They could have pulled it off and made it actually quite a good show.
But it still wouldn't have freaking mattered. That's the worst part about it, is none of it mattered.
Obi-Wan's character development.
Sure, but to bring up another duel, there should have never been another duel between Vader and Obi-Wan, between Sith and A New Hope. It shouldn't have happened. And while you can figure out how to wiggle it in without breaking shit as bad as Disney Lucasfilm did, it still isn't necessary because it's still going to end up at A New Hope, going down the exact same way, and you don't really do any. I don't know, man. I don't. I think there's plenty of stuff there, especially after Revenge of the Sith comes out. There's plenty of stuff there to get you mentally from Sith Obi-Wan to Tatooine Obi-Wan. I don't know. I didn't need what they gave us at all.
It possibly didn't even need Vader. To be honest.
It didn't. That's one of the worst parts about it. You don't need Leia and you don't need Vader at all. You could definitely tell some Kenobi stuff, and I would have been potentially down for that, but not with Vader. And like I said, because it all comes, we're we're on a Kenobi sidebar. We could do that all the time. What I did want to get into, and what I was trying to,
what we don't have in this Acolyte is that we don't have anything. It shouldn't be anything that destroys, I don't think, any canon or way. It's its own contained story.
You would think there would be nothing to be destroyed about canon, but man, we have got some controversy going on about
really?
the Acolyte and canon.
I wonder who the controversy is from.
With lightsaber colors being one of the big things, and whether or not there are Sith. So everyone likes to go back to this line about there's only two, a master and an apprentice, and then, this person's not a real Sith. This person's not a real Sith, when there's a dozen different dark side Force users showing up all throughout Filoni and Lucas's much beloved Clone Wars series, right? And so you've got
Inquisitors. You've got that's not included. And that's
and people will do the mental. People will do the mental gymnastics of, they're not Sith. They're Force users. They might be dark. Okay, I got it. You're twisting things the way Lucas and Filoni and Pablo like to as well. And then you've got the people that are raging on about whether or not there are why there would be orange lightsabers in the scene of the Acolyte, or yellow lightsabers, when those are supposed to be only for temple guards.
It's a disgrace, so it is.
But then
I think these people forget why we even got a green lightsaber in the first place. If we go back to Return of the Jedi, the only reason Luke got a green lightsaber in Return of the Jedi is because the blue looked bad against the desert skyline and the Jabba set piece. That's the reason.
That's the thing. There's a couple of issues here with people that are, and some of these are the same people bitching about canon, about whether or not, and you've got, and we're not calling out any particular people because these are not the only two. I grabbed two. There's all sorts of conversations, but you got Star Wars theory on the Sith. No one should be able to know who is Sith. Red lightsabers mean Sith, and Sith could not have been seen before Maul is seen in the Phantom Menace. Otherwise, it messes up with canon. And then raging.
None of them survive.
Right, and then Raging Rhino, who I don't even know who that is at all. No. Responding to Jacob at JT. I'm Suggs or Tim Suggs. I'm not sure what the Twitter handle is supposed to how it's supposed to read. They posted something about the Battle of Geonosis being great. Someone responded about no yellow lightsabers during the Battle of Geonosis because they should be at the temple, guarding the temple. One of my biggest things about this is, one, Lucas was stupid, and I'm saying it, and you guys can hate me for it. Although I'm pretty sure Doomcock's about to get, all sorts of views and love for saying he doesn't like Lucas anymore because of Lucas backing Iger and whatnot on the Disney board. But I have been hating on Lucas's bad ideas for a while. including making lightsaber colors one matter, and then him and Filoni making freaking not just the colors being specific, but making them matter to specific jobs, making the crystal sentient, making them pick out their owners, because it's like, man, I got a yellow one. I guess I'm going to be a guard, whether I wanted to be one or not. Like, and I know they come up with wiggle room, and people doing this mental gymnastics crap to try to figure out what is or isn't canon. When the sad fact reality is, Lucas screwed up with that crap, and Dave Filoni made it way too cartoony and touchy feely with the sentience and stuff like that.
And then in the sequels, they just abandoned whatever they had said and gave Rey one at the end anyway. So like they all have got their own way of doing it.
But Cam, could you imagine the plethora of colors we would have if we went with prequel, pre-Clone Wars EU style lightsabers? The pinks, the purples, the silver, all sorts of shades of blue and green and yellow and orange. Right. Oh my God, it would have been great.
Depending on the color of the crystal you picked up, and that's how it worked. If you found
instead we have people,
it gave you whatever color
and instead we have people complaining about orange showing up outside of a temple, or red must mean Sith, must mean dark side.
People were looking for anything. Their entire career is built out of criticizing anything that Star Wars does. So when that trailer comes out, and I don't mind calling it Star Wars theory for this, I don't.
I don't really watch them that much, so.
But I don't watch them at all. But I pick up what he says because I see stuff in Reddit.
That's what I'm saying. Like you, I don't watch. Like I don't willingly seek out his stuff if something pops up.
And I see the headlines, and that's the guy is going to be viewing that trailer and just thinking, right, what can I criticize here? What are all the bad things about this? Because that's where he's going to make money on a video, is raging about somebody doesn't like. That's what his fan base want to see. And the other guy you mentioned,
he liked Kenobi though, didn't he?
Now raging
like
about
Kenobi?
George Lucas because politically they've went away from the kind of political stance that they're pushing. I mean, put it this way: one of the criticisms I saw online of the Acolyte trailer was, tell me how many white men you can find in that trailer. And I'm like, I don't really care about that, man. I just don't. It's got no interest in me at all,
Most of the time,
the character's a character.
I'm
with the show. I like the character. I'll not like the character. I don't care.
I'm with you like that. There are times, and I talk about this on the Daily Cog from time to time. I used to talk about it with Manny Gomez a lot when he was on the show with me there. There are times when Hollywood does do things with their casting, and maybe it's on purpose, whether or not it's coming with the desire to create diversity out of a pure motivation, or there are people that look, man, revenge is something that is sought by people throughout the world, and if you think entertainment doesn't have people that seek revenge on their perceived wrongs, whether they are wrong or not, it's their perceived wrongs. It'd be naive not to think that happens, but I don't necessarily, that wasn't the thing that went through my mind watching this either. So I'm with you on that. It this time it didn't cross my mind until I think I saw the same tweet you probably
some good
saw.
Actors in there, Carrie-Anne Moss is good, always good. Lee Jung-Yae, Daphne Keane. I haven't really seen the star Amanda Stenberg. I haven't really seen in anything, so I don't know what to expect from her. But there's several other actors that showed up in that teaser that I like, and I'm happy to see in this, and they can do a job. So we'll give it, we'll see how it goes, and we will review it. Probably.
That's all we can do. Yeah, we'll have Cantina reviews for it, 100%. At least for the first few episodes, unless the first episode is just straight donkey shit, of course we're gonna check it out.
One thing that she did say that I think you might like to hear is she did say that there shouldn't really be any connections to the Skywalker saga itself, so don't expect that. Which I think is a good thing. I wouldn't have liked it to be. It's all about the prophecy and Anakin coming or something like that, and it was all kind of some sort of setup for that. I think would have been a bit meh. So
I agree. Well, why don't we leave the Acolyte behind? Let us know what you guys thought in the comments down below. Let's talk a little bit about Rogue Squadron. Rogue Squadron's back in the news. Cam,
I'm sure it should be though. We know why it is. It's because Patty Jenkins was on a
doesn't
podcast,
have anything else going on right now,
and she said she's still working on it. And as far as she's concerned, Lucasfilm are waiting for her to produce a draft. And this did echo Kathleen Kennedy's statement that it wasn't
cancelled.
It was just shelved because no one was working on it right now. Patty Jenkins explained that, for her, she was going to be working on Wonder Woman 3. Then the whole
Cleopatra,
DCU James Gunn thing happened. Wonder
Yeah.
Woman 3 get cancelled, and her time was freed up to be able to start working on Rogue Squadron. I think it'll depend what kind of script she puts in for it ultimately. I don't think the project's dead. It depends what she produces. If she produces an interesting script, then that they think, yeah, we want to make this, then great. If she doesn't, then I think they just go, I'm sorry, thanks very much. We might not use any of your ideas, but basically we own them anyway. If we do decide to use any of your ideas, we'll give you story credit. And, that's how it works.
I still stand by. This would be a better show than movie.
Yeah.
I still have the biggest fear that it's just going to be Top Gun in space, and I maybe Top Gun 2, because they actually go do like a full-blown mission, and the mission is more of a thing than the school stuff. And I've explained it before, mostly because this is not a group of fresh pilots. This isn't a group of newbies. This is a group of trained, seasoned pilots that go through basically SF school together and then go do their missions. And while the SF school stuff is nice to get into, you have that's I don't want to see that in a movie. You know what I'm saying? Like in a book, like in the original X-Wing books, and I don't expect them to adapt those at all. Maybe take some inspirations from, but you have time to do the flight school stuff. You know what I'm saying? And flesh it out and make it meaningful before you start going and doing the mission. And I don't mean flight school, maybe more like Q course or something like that, SF stuff. But in a movie, but in a movie, you've only got 2.5 hours, hopefully no more than that, but 2 to 2.5 hours you've got to tell a
big chunk of that
story.
For the mission itself or the battle.
Exactly.
Some exciting bits in between. So like training needs to be exciting, and being ships, you can't be just sat at a desk.
Do we even
have some action at the start that introduces people to get them there in the first place?
But do we even need even in a movie, do we need the training part of it? Do we need to see this team come together, or can we jump into this team is together? This is the team, and we learn through their conversations. In the cockpit,
with them already having a group dynamic,
at the canteen. Exactly, they're already doing their missions. When you jump into
Halo, blue team's already a thing. It's not as if you're just meeting them for the first time and they're learning to work with each other. They're already a well-oiled unit, and then shit goes south. But and that kind of thing could happen. I mean, it'd be interesting if they had an elite unit, and somebody gets killed and they have to bring a new person in, so that we get to explore the dynamic from the new person coming into that setup.
Like the opening of the movie as a funeral or something like that.
Or starting with a mission where somebody gets killed.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And then it goes into, and this is military stuff. It's not, that's a big funeral. The military's job is replace the person. That's priority number one. Body, the funeral, that's somebody else's problem. My job's to get this team operational, so I'm going to replace that. Who's the best pilot out there that I could get to come into this team? And that's a nice angle to come into it without maybe having too much of the flight skill. And then there could be that kind of animosity of, It's almost like D'Artagnan coming into the Three Musketeers in it. You know, it's that kind of idea. You know,
And that's
hot
the other
shot
thing
kid
is
maybe.
a lot of people that came up with, say, the Rogue Squadron, the X-wing books, they might realize. They might get kind of hung up on that. Well, you got to have them all come together and whatnot. Not necessarily. The thing about the books is they were restarting Rogue Squadron from scratch, and so you had to have a training period like they did to get to work together. But much like you said, as you start cycling a unit in, once a unit is activated and they're in, losses, it's not like the whole group goes back to school together. No, they train on site from that point forward. Replacements come in, you're trained from there. That's why I brought up the idea. You don't even need any type of training. You just jump in. We can learn to love these characters or hate them if necessary. Because and I hate how people are like, oh, how dare you hate a character? You should hate a bad guy in it. You know what I'm saying?
You like them, but you like them because
we should have we should be able to get those emotions without having this get into the action. And whether that is, and this is me, and I think you generally agree with me, whether you set it up in the era of the original trilogy, which you really shouldn't, but if you did, fine, whatever, just jump into the action. Just jump into it. But the best thing to do is to bring back what's his name to be Poe Dameron. Poe takes this position of Wedge, have Wedge in the position of Akbar, and this is the taking of Coruscant from the remnants of the Final Order, Last Order, whatever the hell it was called. That's how you do it. And then you have some blueprints with the X-Wing books, because you just kind of adapting that, but 35, 40 years in
you
the future.
15 years to play with before we get to wherever the race sequel goes. So they could play a different environment by that point. That could be after the Resistance is cleared out the First Order completely, or there could still be some remnants depending on how they're deciding that story's going to go.
And you drop us in
some
with
sort of bad guys. So.
Yeah, you drop us in with Poe and them on a mission, and they lose someone, like you said, and it's like, well, you've got this replacement, and then they're like, it's time, Dameron, we're going after Coruscant. We made this mistake of transferring the capital like idiots before. We're going to re-centralize it, and the new Galactic Alliance or whatever is going to. So we need you to start plotting to take Coruscant. Boom, Disney, hire us. We're available. We'll work for cheaper than Patty Jenkins. Cam will work for free. I will work for cheaper than Patty Jenkins. We got this, man. A better movie than anything you guys could come up with. I promise you. Oh, man.
I would love the opportunity. But yeah, I still... will we ever see this?
I don't know. Don't think so.
Will we ever see it directed and written by Patty Jenkins? That seems... I'm more positive. I think we'll see it more than we'll see that eventuality of it, but I'm still not sure we will ever see it. So
I feel you on that. It sucks. I still think, like I said, it would make a great show. I think of it
then
just
you can get into all the the downtime, because you can't blow your budget on every episode,
No.
So if you were building up to something like Coruscant, that's your finale, or you even get into the start of season 2, or something like that as well, to stretch the budget across 2 seasons. That's what Stargate used to do with the big finales. Sometimes they would have the cliffhanger for budget reasons, so they would be spending big on the finale and then big on the start in the next series, and then they would reduce the money and then spend big for the finale again, so that they would have all the filler episodes in between. Not always the worst episodes, but lower budget, less special effects.
No, it makes sense, and that's an easy way to do it. And like you said, spend time with the pilots in their base, on their base, in the local pub, cantina, downtime area.
Their issues are, and whatever the dramas are between them. Who fancies who's
banging who, exactly.
Somebody else. Yeah.
All of that stuff, and as a retired service member myself, I would eat that shit up, man. I would, I really would. No, we're
Did you never want to be a pilot, Kyle? Because
Who
in fact,
didn't?
that was when
Who
I was a
didn't?
kid. I don't have the eyesight to be a pilot, as you can
Yeah.
see, right?
Yeah.
But you know,
Neither did I.
if I had no interest in getting into the military, but if I did, that's what
Yeah.
I would have wanted to do because I loved the idea of flying planes because of Star Wars.
Yeah, yep. Everyone did. I would still kill to this day to get an up to date space fighter sim, not an arcade bullshit shooter like your guys' Battlefront and Squadrons.
Yeah.
No, a real modern take on
You'd
TIE
think somebody
Fighter,
would just
X-wing versus
could
TIE
make
Fighter.
that for PC and it would make money. You know, it would only be a certain community that would buy it, but as long as your budget's not crazy, which it doesn't need to be.
It doesn't have to be for this. No, it doesn't have to be at all. Because it's all about the ship models. It's not about pilot models. It's not about cinematics. It's not about like, dude, you could animate the cinematics for all I care, like Homeworld style. Like just give me Wing Commander, freaking put live action actors in the cutscenes instead of CGI and use cheap actors. Like, I don't care, just give me the damn game. And there's a really good update.
There's a series of missions that you can play in a number of different ways, so that you can go back and try and play it in different ways with different shifts and different combinations.
Yes. And then of course the online being a big one. You know, at least 12 on 12 for classic EU squadron base. Like, that was the thing about squadrons, was it was like, what, 5 pilots? Boring. My God, Disney and EA, you guys should be fired for what you've done to Star Wars gaming.
I saw something the other day. There's some who was it? The guy who was one of the creators of Halo or whatever, one of the head Halo people, joined EA to work on something, and then they paid off the entire studio before they could produce it, and he was like, I just have nothing good to say about EA whatsoever. They're just such a bad company.
Yeah. Well, the only other thing that we were going to do for shits and giggles, literally giggles, mention Doomcock getting upset at Lucas, and he tweeted out, made a whole video, making lots of views for it. And again, guys, Star Wars isn't our bread and butter here on the GenreVerse. This is passion project for Cam, Shockey, and I. The bread and butter is the anime shit for sure. Always has been since we started it. It's not jealousy. Oh, I want the Star Wars. It's just the guy spent years feeding garbage to people, and I hate seeing people abuse people, and that's what he did. He abused his audience repeatedly, and it's disgusting to me. But they said, this is one of the most painful videos ever made. Time to write off George Lucas. KK didn't kill Star Wars. He did. I like what you said in our Slack. He can't make videos about George Lucas coming to save Star Wars anymore.
I think at one point at the start he claimed to have insider knowledge from Lucas, like he was a pal with him or something, like the infamous Super Shadow from back in the prequel days that claimed that George Lucas was giving Star Wars to him and all that sort of stuff and just made stuff up. I mean, that's how bad this guy was at the start. Then he started on the whole kind of just hate train, but it was continually, promising his users like George Lucas might be coming back. He might take the franchise back. At one point, he said he would buy it back, or that he would become the new Lucasfilm president instead of Kathleen Kennedy, and that he was going to save Star Wars universe and blah blah blah. And then all Lucas does is say, basically, I think the more experienced filmmakers would be best with this franchise. That's basically what he said. But because Doomcock's politics are all, and this whole thing at Disney, there seems to be a lot of racism involved in it. I'm going to be honest. Misogyny, all that sort of stuff. And
sometimes, for sure.
Some sort of proxy fight. It's all about politics anyway. And because George Lucas has now gone against the politics that Doomcock has, he's dead to him. It's like
Lucas would have always been against.
You're a
most
sad
of
little
the politics
middle-aged
of
man
these
that
YouTubers
sits in the internet with a mask
on. Is
on
he middle-aged?
and tells people. Well,
I thought it
it's
was a
not
kid.
It can't be.
It's not a
Well, do
kid.
you know? I guess we don't know because he disguises his
And
voice in some weird way.
exactly. And by kid,
It's an
guys, we
absolute
mean
joke.
someone like under 30.
Yeah, we do mean that 'cause we're old. I really am middle aged.
Yes.
So maybe I'm
And I'm right
self-projecting in
about
some
there,
ways,
too.
but I'm not disguising my voice and putting a mask on and making up
No.
lies to tell
No.
people to sell videos. So,
No. Cam, are you seeing the entire Saga in theaters on May 4th?
No. It's not the entire saga because it's not the sequels. It's just the OT and the PT. But
maybe for the UK, Star Wars X said the entire saga, and their poster has the sequels on them.
maybe I'm wrong. The initial report I wrote and for the site, and when I covered it, the tweets and all that were saying it was just 1 to 6.
Let me double check.
I don't know. I don't even know if it's happening in the UK. It might be a US
that might be a thing because the website StarWars.com says entire saga. Yeah, all of them through the rise.
Either way, I wouldn't even go and see the OT again, even though they're 4K remastered, and it'll be a better 4K transfer than what we get in Disney Plus.
Because it's not compressed.
I've seen these films hundreds of times, and I don't need to go and see them again.
If they took out McClunky, and no, I would take my son to see these in theaters, 100%. But I don't want to assault his intelligence by having him watch
tough to take.
Those awful takes. God dang it, George! You gave us gold, and then you wiped your butt with it. Why?
If I'm going to watch them, I'll watch those ones, but might as well watch them in streaming.
If you guys do like good, honest Star Wars opinions, the occasional bit of rumor discussion, leak discussion, mostly just opinions on stuff that's like official news. Give us a subscribe and or a follow if you're listening on your favorite app, because we do like to cover this stuff. Like I said, it's a passion project. That's why it still goes on when the anime stuff does so much more. I want to be a one-stop shop for everyone. So if you do like it, please do subscribe. Check out all the articles we talked about and their sources linked at lrmonline.com. Cam and Shockey really hold it down doing the writing. So if you have ever considered writing for a entertainment website, Cam, what could they do?
I mean, you could write for us at lrmonline.com. We're always looking for new people to volunteer and learn the ropes, and get your name out there. Well, you can write under a pseudonym if you want. If we have people that do that from time to time, but you can also just get yourself out there as a writer. Learn how to do it, how to write stories, how to write opinion pieces. We will help you with that. So if you're interested in that in any way whatsoever, and it doesn't have to be about Star Wars. If it is Star Wars, cool. It doesn't have to be, though. It could be any kind of geek franchise that you're into. It might even be something that we don't cover enough of and we should be covering more of, in which case, hey, come and write about it, because if I don't watch it, then you don't want to see me write about it anyway. You're as well having someone write about things that actually watch them and are interested in them. That's the way I see it. So give us a shout. My details are below. You can shout me, or you can go to Shockey, Michael at lrmonline.com as well. Or you can contact Ken. We'll probably just forward it on to me or Shockey anyway. So
most likely. So yeah, you guys, if you want to do that, subscribe here. Like I said, all the great content. Follow us on your favorite podcast app. And hey, if you really want to support LRM and the GenreVerse, we do have some merch, including our exclusive. I mean, it's simple to make up, but our OT is greater than the PT is greater than the ST. Star Wars print available on stickers, shirts, mugs, all that type of stuff. It is true. I mean, I could just put OT greater than PT/ST because it's the greatest of all time, but you got to tier these things. Thank you so much for watching. We'll talk to you next time. May the Force be with you.